A serious vulnerability has been uncovered in React server components, potentially allowing attackers to execute code remotely without authentication. This flaw, identified as CV 2025-55182 and rated with a maximum severity score of 10.0, poses a significant risk to applications using affected versions of React and Next.js. The issue arises from how React processes payloads sent to its server function endpoints. Discovered by New Zealand-based researcher Lachlan Davidson and reported to Meta on November 29, 2025, this vulnerability affects multiple versions of key NPM packages, including React Server DOM Webpack and React Server DOM Parcel. Even applications that do not implement React Server function endpoints could still be at risk. In this video, we'll break down the details of the vulnerability, its implications, and the steps developers can take to safeguard their applications. If you find this update helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to Infosec now for the latest cybersecurity news. Your support really helps us continue building useful content for cybersecurity professionals. If you found this update helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to Infosec now for the latest cybersecurity news. Your support really helps us continue building useful content for cybersecurity professionals. Timeline of events surrounding the vulnerability. On November 29, 2025, Lachlan Davidson, a security researcher from New Zealand, discovered the critical vulnerability in React server components and promptly reported it to Meta. This discovery set off a chain reaction within the tech community as the implications of the flaw began to surface. Just days later, on December 3, 2025, Meta's React team issued an alert detailing the vulnerability, officially tracking it as CV 2025-55182. The alert highlighted the potential for unauthenticated remote code execution, raising immediate concerns among developers and security professionals alike. As news of the vulnerability spread, cloud security firm was conducted an assessment and reported that nearly 39% of cloud environments contained instances vulnerable to this flaw. This alarming statistic underscored the widespread impact of the vulnerability, given the extensive use of React and Next.js in modern web applications. In the wake of the disclosure, multiple infrastructure providers, including Cloudflare, Akamai, AWS, Fastly, and Google Cloud, took swift action to deploy protective measures. Cloudflare announced enhancements to its Web Application Firewall, WAF, to shield clients from potential exploits, emphasizing that all users would benefit from these safeguards as long as their React application traffic was routed through its services. The vulnerability's reach extended beyond just React and Next.js. Security experts warned that any library utilizing React server components could also be susceptible. This included popular tools like Vite and Redwood.js, amplifying the urgency for developers to assess their dependencies and apply necessary patches. In technical discussions, experts elaborated on the mechanics of the vulnerability. They explained that the flaw stemmed from unsafe deserialization processes within the React Flight protocol, allowing attackers to manipulate payloads sent to server endpoints. This vulnerability effectively turned trusted data handling into a significant security risk, as malicious inputs could be executed with the same privileges as legitimate requests. By mid-December, as the situation evolved, the NIST National Vulnerability Database confirmed the vulnerability's classification, rejecting an initial CVE identifier for Next.js as a duplicate of the React vulnerability. This clarification further emphasized the interconnected nature of modern web frameworks and the critical need for vigilant security practices across the board. As developers and organizations scrambled to patch their systems, the incident served as a stark reminder of the evolving landscape of cybersecurity threats. The combination of widespread vulnerability and the ease with which it could be exploited highlighted the necessity for ongoing vigilance and proactive security measures in web application development. The emergence of the critical vulnerability in React server components has significant implications for developers and organizations relying on these technologies. As the flaw allows unauthenticated remote code execution, developers must act swiftly to assess their application's exposure to this risk. The vulnerability affects not only React but also Next.js, meaning a broad spectrum of applications could be at risk, especially those utilizing common libraries that bundle RSC. Organizations are encouraged to prioritize patching their systems, as the vulnerability impacts specific versions of key packages. The urgency is underscored by security reports indicating that a substantial percentage of cloud environments may have instances vulnerable to this exploit. This widespread exposure highlights the need for a proactive security posture, including regular updates and robust monitoring practices. In the wake of the vulnerability disclosure, many organizations are implementing temporary measures such as deploying Web Application Firewall (WAF) rules to mitigate potential attacks. This is particularly vital given that the flaw can be exploited without requiring any special setup, making standard deployments immediately vulnerable. Developers are advised to monitor traffic to server function endpoints closely for any unusual activity, as attackers could easily craft malicious requests. Moreover, the incident serves as a cautionary tale about the trust placed in incoming data structures within modern frameworks. Security experts have noted that this vulnerability represents a significant attack vector, as it allows attackers to execute arbitrary code with the same privileges as the node.js process. This highlights the importance of implementing stricter validation and deserialization practices within application code and libraries. As the community rallies to address the vulnerability, it is essential for organizations to remain vigilant and informed. The rapid dissemination of information regarding the flaw emphasizes the collaborative nature of the software development community, with security researchers and cloud providers working together to enhance defenses. This incident not only impacts immediate security measures but also calls for a re-evaluation of development practices to prevent similar vulnerabilities in the future. In conclusion, the ramifications of this vulnerability extend beyond immediate fixes. They underscore the need for ongoing education, improved security protocols, and a cultural shift towards prioritizing security in the development lifecycle. Developers and organizations must learn from this incident to fortify their defenses against evolving threats in the ever-changing landscape of web application security. As the React community grapples with the implications of CV 2025-55182, immediate steps for mitigation and monitoring are becoming crucial for developers and organizations alike. First and foremost, it is essential for users of affected libraries to upgrade to the patched versions, which include stricter validation and improved deserialization protocols. This step is vital to closing the security gap that allows for unauthenticated remote code execution. In addition to updating software, implementing Web Application Firewall (WAF) rules can provide an additional layer of security. These rules can help filter out malicious traffic targeting server function endpoints, mitigating the risk of exploitation while organizations work to apply permanent fixes. Major cloud service providers such as Cloudflare, Amazon Web Services, and Akamai have already taken proactive measures by deploying safeguards in their WAF solutions, which can protect applications that route traffic through these services. Monitoring HTTP traffic for suspicious patterns or malformed requests is another critical step. Organizations should remain vigilant, as the vulnerability is easily exploitable without any special conditions, meaning that even standard deployments are at risk. Regular audits of server logs and traffic can help identify potential attempts at exploitation early, allowing for a swift response. Moreover, the broader ecosystem surrounding React and Next.js must also be considered. As various libraries that bundle React server components may also be affected, it is prudent for developers to assess their entire stack for vulnerabilities. This includes commonly used plugins and frameworks, such as Vite and Redwood.js, which may not have been initially recognized as at risk. Lastly, raising awareness within development teams about this vulnerability is essential. Training and resources should be made available to ensure that all team members understand the risks associated with CV 2025-55182 and the importance of adhering to security best practices. Collaboration among developers, security teams, and cloud providers will be necessary to foster a comprehensive approach to mitigating this threat and ensuring the integrity of applications built on React and Next.js. If you found this update helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to Infosec now for the latest cybersecurity news. Your support really helps us continue building useful content for cybersecurity professionals.